Welcome back, deep divers. Today we're diving headfirst into the future, specifically the future of green jobs in Africa. We've got this really interesting report called Forecasting Green Jobs in Africa 2024. And, well, honestly, it's just packed with insights. You might be thinking Africa and green jobs, like, isn't Africa facing all these economic challenges?
Yeah, that's actually what makes this so fascinating because this report, it shows us a continent that's just bursting with potential.
It's like a clean slate. They can kind of skip over those polluting industries that other parts of the world are trying to move away from and just leapfrog right into this green economy. Okay, you've got me hooked. So tell me, what is this incredible potential we're talking about?
Well, Africa has just an abundance of renewable resources, solar, wind, geothermal, hydro, you name it. And then on top of that, they have the world's youngest and fastest growing workforce.
Okay, so combine those two things.
Exactly. It's a seriously powerful combination. Imagine, millions of young people eager to learn and contribute to a greener future.
This report focuses on the near future, right? Like, why is that so important?
Yeah. So while some are predicting like a massive 100 million new green jobs in Africa by 2050, this report really hones in on the more immediate future between now and 2030. They argue that, building the right skills now is really crucial to unlocking that like larger potential down the line.
Okay, so think of it as like laying the foundation.
Exactly.
So what's the prediction?
All right, get ready for this. Between 1.5 and 3.3 million new direct green jobs in Africa by 2030.
Whoa, okay. That's a huge opportunity. And not just for Africa, right? But for, anyone who wants to be part of the green economy. But, okay, 1.5 to 3.3 million, that's a pretty big range. Why such a broad estimate?
So it's actually a conservative estimate, and for a few reasons. First, they're only counting jobs created by 2030. The real boom, like we said, is likely to come in the decades after that.
So 3.3 million is just the beginning.
Exactly, just the tip of the iceberg.
What else makes this a conservative estimate?
Second, this report is focused on 12 established green sectors. It doesn't even include promising new fields like, green hydrogen or agroforestry, which could create countless more jobs.
Oh.
And they're only counting direct jobs, not the indirect jobs in the supply chain, or even the ripple effect of just increased economic activity.
Which, again, could multiply the impact.
Right, significantly.
So the actual number could be way higher than 3.3 million.
Absolutely.
It's smart that they're starting with this conservative view, because these initial jobs, they're going to be the foundation for a much larger green workforce. Okay, let's get into the specifics. What are these 12 sectors, the ones driving this green job boom?
Well, energy and power are definitely leading the pack. We're talking 70% of these new jobs. And within that sector, solar energy is king, with the potential to create up to 1.7 million new jobs by 2030.
Wow, solar is a game changer. It's amazing to think that just, sunshine could unlock so much opportunity for Africa. What makes solar such a job creation machine?
Well, it's rapidly deployable, relatively affordable, and, perfectly suited to Africa's sunny climate. But it's not just these massive solar farms. It's things like solar home systems and mini-grids. These are creating tons of jobs, especially in rural communities, places that haven't had access to reliable electricity.
So solar isn't just creating jobs, it's bringing energy access and economic opportunities to areas that might have been left behind. That's amazing. What are some other promising sectors?
Agriculture and nature are predicted to generate up to 700,000 new jobs. This is where you get things like climate-smart agriculture.
Okay, break that down for us.
So imagine a future where farmers are using, AI-powered sensors to optimize water use, predict crop yields,
Yeah.
and reduce their environmental impact.
So it's about using technology to empower farmers, boost their incomes, and contribute to a more sustainable food system.
Exactly.
I love it. What else?
Waste remediation and recycling are booming, thanks to just rapid urbanization and development. And then there's power transmission and distribution, which are essential for getting all that renewable energy to where it's needed.
It's all connected, the solar panels, the transmission lines, and the skilled workers to install and maintain it all. It's a whole new ecosystem of sustainable industries. But let's move beyond the sectors for a second. What about the types of jobs being created? Is it all manual labor, or are there opportunities for people with different skill sets?
It's a really diverse mix. The report breaks down the jobs into 4 categories based on skill level.
Give me the breakdown.
Okay, so unskilled jobs represent the largest chunk, about 40%. These are like entry-level positions, providing a crucial source of income and a pathway into the green economy for many. Then there's specialized skills, which make up about 30%. These require like vocational training or certifications for roles like solar panel installers or wind turbine technicians.
So we're not just talking about, digging ditches. We need people with technical know-how. What about the other skill categories?
General and administrative jobs account for 20%, highlighting the need for those management and organizational skills. Think project managers, accountants, administrative staff, all essential for keeping these green businesses running smoothly.
It makes sense. You need people who can, run the show.
Okay, and that leaves us with 10%. What are those jobs?
Those are the advanced jobs, like the innovators, researchers, the engineers, the ones who are driving the development of new green technologies. These roles require higher education and really specialized expertise.
So there's a role for everyone in this green transition, from entry-level positions to highly skilled professionals. This is starting to feel less like a report and more like a roadmap to a more sustainable future, wouldn't you say?
I think so.
But before we get ahead of ourselves,
Uh-huh.
let's zoom in on some specific countries. The report analyzes 5 key countries, right? That's right. They take a deep dive into the Democratic Republic of Congo, Ethiopia, Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa. 5 very different countries, each with its own unique strengths and challenges. So we're back to our deep dive into the future of green jobs in Africa. And before the break, we were talking about these 5 very different countries: the DRC, Ethiopia, Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa. Each one's facing, a unique set of opportunities and challenges as they navigate this green transition.
Okay, let's unpack that. 5 countries, all at different stages of development. What are some of the things that make each of them stand out, in terms of green job potential?
Well, let's start with South Africa. They have a more developed economy compared to the other 4,
Mm.
and they're already leading the way in solar energy jobs. They've
Mm.
got, the infrastructure and the skilled workforce to really capitalize on this solar boom.
So it's like they're already hitting the ground running. What about Kenya?
Kenya's really interesting. They're, advanced in solar technology, but what's really catching attention is their leadership in the electric two-wheeler market.
Oh, wow.
So think, e-bikes and electric scooters. It's a rapidly growing sector, and Kenya's at the forefront.
So they're not just focused on energy production, but also on, like, green transportation solutions. It shows how diverse and innovative this whole green revolution is. Okay, what about the other 3 countries?
Nigeria is facing massive population growth,
Hmm.
which will create a huge demand for jobs in areas like aquaculture and sustainable poultry farming. They need to produce more food,
Mm.
and they need to do it in a way that's environmentally responsible.
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword. More mouths to feed, but also more opportunities for innovation and job creation in those sustainable food systems. Okay, what about Ethiopia?
Ethiopia is investing heavily in large-scale hydropower projects. These are creating, a lot of jobs, but there are also concerns about, their environmental impact. It's a reminder that even renewable energy projects need to be approached carefully to minimize, their effects on local ecosystems.
It's not just about switching to renewables, it's about doing it in a way that's truly sustainable. Okay, last but not least, what about the DRC?
The DRC has a wealth of hydropower resources, but they face challenges with, like, infrastructure development. They need to invest in things like roads, transmission lines, and training programs to fully unlock their green potential.
It sounds like each of these countries has its own unique story, its own path to a greener future. But this report paints a pretty optimistic picture. But it's realistic, right? It doesn't shy away from the potential pitfalls.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the strengths of this report. It's realistic, it acknowledges, the complexities, and it highlights areas where we need to be extra careful.
So let's talk about those challenges. What are some things that could, like, derail this green job boom?
One of the biggest challenges is ensuring that this growth is inclusive and that it benefits everyone. There's a risk that the benefits could be concentrated in certain regions or among certain demographics,
Mm.
exacerbating existing inequalities.
So it's not just about creating jobs, it's about making sure those jobs are accessible to
Exactly.
all, regardless of, their background or location. What else?
Another challenge is the need for supportive policies. Governments need to create an environment that encourages, investment in green industries and that rewards sustainable practices.
So we're talking about things like tax breaks for green businesses,
Right.
streamlined regulations, investments in renewable energy infrastructure. It sounds like it takes a real commitment from governments to make this happen. What else?
We also have to consider, the environmental impact. We can't
Mhm.
just swap out one set of environmental problems for another.
Right.
For example, we need to make sure that renewable energy projects are developed responsibly, with minimal impact on local ecosystems.
And we need to ensure that, the mining of critical minerals for things like batteries and solar panels is done sustainably and ethically without harming the environment or exploiting local communities. It sounds like a delicate balancing act.
It is. Finding that, sweet spot between economic development and environmental protection requires vigilance, collaboration, and a willingness to learn and adapt.
But even with these challenges, there's still this sense of optimism in the report. Do you see Africa overcoming these obstacles and, becoming a green jobs powerhouse?
I do. This report, it's not just a prediction, it's a roadmap.
Yeah.
It highlights the challenges, but it also points toward solutions.
It's like a call to action, right? A
Exactly.
guide for navigating this whole complex green transition. And this all kind of circles back to us, to each and every listener. We've talked about the big picture, the challenges, the solutions, but what does it all mean for the individual, for the person who's listening to this, wondering how they can make a difference?
That's the perfect question to end on. And it's exactly what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive. We'll shift our focus to, the personal implications of this green job boom and offer some concrete steps you can take to become a part of this, exciting transformation. So stay with us.
All right, deep divers, welcome back. We've traveled all across Africa, exploring this future packed with green jobs. We've talked about the challenges, the opportunities that come with this shift. But now, let's bring it all home. What does this mean for you, the listener? How can you be a part of this green wave that's sweeping across Africa and, honestly, the whole world?
That's what we're going to tackle right now. This report, it's not just for, policymakers or these big companies. It's full of insights that can actually shape your own career decisions, no matter where you are in your professional life.
Okay, let's say I'm listening to this and I'm just starting out my career, or maybe I'm thinking about making a change. What should I be looking for in this report? Like, what's the first step to ride this green wave?
First, do your research. I mean, this deep dive has given you a great overview, but now it's time to, dive deeper into those sectors and countries that really spark your interest. There are tons of resources online, industry publications, even other podcasts that focus specifically on the green economy.
Become a green economy geek. Okay, I'm into it, but let's say I've done my research, found a few areas that I'm really excited about. What's next?
Next, start building the skills you need. This could mean like formal education, vocational training, online courses, or even hands-on experience. The key is to, tailor your learning to the specific roles that you're interested in.
There are just so many options these days. It's all about finding what works best for you and like your learning style, but it can feel overwhelming. Any tips on how to navigate this whole skills landscape?
Well, the report actually highlights some like specific skills that are in really high demand. For example, in the solar energy sector, installers, electricians, maintenance technicians. Even sales and distribution roles are really in high demand.
So if you're good with your hands, love technology, or have a knack for connecting with people, there's a place for you in the solar world. And it's not just about technical skills, right?
Right, absolutely. Think about the skills you use every day, even if they're not, directly related to the environment. Things like logistics, finance, data analysis. These are all transferable to a wide range of green industries.
So even if your current skills aren't like green on the surface,
Yeah.
they could still be super valuable in this new landscape. It's about making those connections and showing how your expertise can contribute to a greener future. Any other advice for our listeners who are feeling, ambitious and want to really get ahead of the curve?
Okay, pro tip. Pay close attention to the skill gaps identified in the report. These are areas where demand is likely going to outstrip supply in the coming years. If you can develop skills in these high demand areas, you'll be setting yourself up for a really future-proof career.
It's like insider trading for the green economy. Okay, I'm sold. Give me an example. What's one of those high demand skill gaps?
The report predicts a major need for skilled workers in climate-smart agriculture, particularly in countries like Nigeria and South Africa. So if you're interested in, food systems, technology, and sustainability, this could be an amazing area to explore.
I can already picture it. Working on a farm powered by renewable energy, using drones to monitor crops, and optimizing everything for like maximum yield and minimal environmental impact. That sounds pretty cool.
It is, and that's where the report's focus on specific countries is so useful. It lets you, tailor your skill development to those specific opportunities emerging in those markets. For example, if you're interested in Kenya's booming electric two-wheeler market, you might, focus on skills related to manufacturing, sales, distribution, maintenance, or repair. of those
It's
vehicles.
like choose your own green adventure. But let's be real for a second. It's not just about the technical skills, right?
Absolutely. Don't underestimate the power of the, like, softer skills. Communication, problem solving, teamwork, adaptability. These are, essential in any industry. But even more so in a rapidly evolving field like the green economy.
So it's about being a lifelong learner, embracing change,
Right.
and, being passionate about making a difference. This report is really starting to feel less like, a dry economic analysis and more like a call to action, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I agree. It's a call for individuals to, step up,
Yeah.
see themselves as agents of change, and equip themselves with the knowledge and skills to shape a more sustainable future.
It's about finding that sweet spot where your passions, your skills, and your values align with, the needs of the planet. But there's one piece of advice I always give people, and I think it's super relevant here. Don't wait for the perfect green job to just like fall into your lap. Look for ways to, green your existing skills and experience.
That's such an important point. If you're an accountant, maybe you can specialize in sustainability reporting or carbon accounting. If you're a marketer, maybe you can focus on promoting, eco-friendly products and services. There are so many ways to integrate sustainability into your current role and demonstrate your commitment to a greener future.
It's about thinking, creatively and proactively, and realizing that even small changes can make a big impact. And this green transition, it's not just about finding like a new job. It's about like a shift in mindset, a commitment to living more sustainably in all aspects of our lives.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Mhm.
What are some things our listeners can do in their own lives, to reduce their environmental footprint?
Well, start with the basics. Reduce energy consumption at home, choose sustainable transportation options, and support businesses that, prioritize ethical and environmental practices. It's about aligning your personal values with your professional aspirations.
It's about recognizing that we all have a role to play in creating a more sustainable future, no matter where we live or what we do.
This has been such an inspiring conversation. As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a sense of hope and, possibility. This report shows that green jobs aren't just a niche market, they're a driving force in the global economy.
And it shows that Africa isn't just catching up, it's leading the way.
It's a future we can all be a part of. So let's go out there, deep divers, and make it happen. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey.